Look fine.
Now, let me set this out.
myself, my name is Brian Fleming, and I own American Dream Tax. Counting in real estate, I actually help entrepreneurs start their own tax franchise. We have about 1,600 tax offices in about 39 states. But we also focus on credit and business funding. So my focus piece on this particular project is the importance of doing your taxes the correct way. Question: how many people know what a Schedule C is? That can help your business or hurt your business, right? Don't nobody want to claim that income. So what you do? You write that AGI down all the way to what? Negative or 4,000. And then what do? You go to the bank and say, I want some funding, right? Then they say, hey, well, how's your business functioning on $4,000? So we're gonna talk about how it's advantageous to what it is that you want to do, right? Also, we're gonna have this individual who I'm gonna introduce, who I just met actually. He's been doing some amazing things. He's an activist. Matter of fact, I know he's invited some of you guys that's here via Facebook. So the one thing I want you guys to do is if you don't have room in your phone to take some notes, right? Because we, as a culture, we love the rah-rah, but what are the next steps after that?
Right.
Right, so housekeeping rules. Let's put your phones on vibrate to make sure we respect the speakers, right? Also, we want to make sure if you are going to have a restroom break, try to go on the outside, right? Because there's a camera in front of me, there's a camera right here, and there probably is a camera right here. So we don't want you to be in the view of the speakers. Is that okay?
Yes, sir.
All right, cool. So yes, sir.
We're in the restroom.
Right here. I don't know if it's one. Is it?
There's one right here.
So they're behind, so in front of me. Okay, cool. So any questions? Any questions? Any housekeeping rule? We all set? Okay, this next speaker presenter I'm going to introduce to you guys is Mark Carter. When I tell you he's an amazing businessman, activist, entrepreneur, as well as a trusted advisor in this community. Some of you have heard of him. But the most important thing, him and Ro, as well as Shante, they have a lot to share. Okay, so let's give it up to Mark.
And I'll be quick, I like to just, do what I do and then sit down and get to the next person. For me, I'll just give you a little bit about myself. I've been around Chicago's activist scene for the last, I would say, 30 years. So when Ro called me up, I was more than welcome, to jump on board for this Block to the Boardroom concept. We've been doing some things across the city quietly over the winter, planning for now. United Center, right? I wanted to bring that to the table and then open that opportunity up for those who are contractors, tradesmen, developers. The United Center is getting ready to engage in, I think, about a $7 to $12 billion project. We sat down with the owners of the United Center and we want to merge that right into what we're doing with this move, about 5,000. We're going to build some homes, but I bring up the United Center project because there'll be about 9,000 homes that they're going to build. We'll be able to play a role in. We met with those owners and they suggested that we come in and take on a few thousand of the houses. And so we want to afford that opportunity to you. The bigger part of this, I would say, is we see the plan and the direction that Chicago is going in. And quietly over the last 4 years, there was an attempt or initiative to basically turn this city over to the immigrant population. A lot of us, whether we know it or not, it was going on. Just as we saw happen in California, in places like that, California, New York, Florida, where they opened all jobs, contracts, housing opportunities, education resources over to the immigrant population. Now, we don't want to waste our time going against it or trying to stop it. So our thing was, well, how can we get that same plan for our community? That's right. I met with the mayor maybe about a week ago to work with us to go after a lot of those lots. We have a few that we have been able to get a hold to now, but it's going to come by the droves. So between the United Center project, the lots that the city has, the few lots that we are doing, it's not enough people in this room to take on. I'm also the executive director of Black Contractors United. We're the oldest contractor association in the city. We've been working with Chicago Housing Authority, where we've been able to take about 100 and how many contractors do we have now? How many?
about 148.
So we went from 113 to 148. And our first go around, we were able to secure about $163 million CHA afforded to us. It's since gone up to about 250 million. And so these contractors are quietly working. And so our thing is to just connect it all together. Connect all of us together. That's right. No matter what line of work that you're in, there's a space and place for you. And this is the way we're going. I mean, we're going back to what our great-grandparents told us and showed us. At the time, we had 2,000 and 3,000 Tulsas. People know about Tulsa, but I think that missing history is all the different cities that we are in ownership of. We built this country. Our people built this country, fought in every war. So we're going back to that mindset and that model. So I don't want to take too much of time. I'm more of the block. Take care of the board.
All right, let's give Mark a round of applause. Did everybody enjoy the food?
Yes.
Absolutely. I had so much chicken, I'm gonna take a nap after this. But I want to just take a moment though and give it back to Mark Carter, who I've seen do so much amazing work over the last, I want to say, Mark, how long have we known each other? Almost 15 years?
Yeah.
About 15 years. And I've always admired his manhood, and that's what I'm gonna call it. His willingness to be a stand, not for ignorance, but for change. And sometimes change comes at the price of inconvenience.
Right.
And so his message has not necessarily been conventional, but it's been timely. And so I admire the strength of this black man, which is why I asked him to come on board with the work that we're doing. We've been planning this for a while. We tried it 10 years ago. And today now, we have crystallized this vision and we have some amazing things to talk about. But before I go, I'm going to be the last speaker, but I wanted to take just a moment because the next speaker that I want to introduce is also somebody. First, let's give Mark Carter a round. So, as Mark said, we have over $100 million of projects that we procured. And for me, I don't know what that sounds like to you, but it sounds like that we have an opportunity to create a movement. Our movement has to be economic in this hour.
Yes.
I think that we're as civil with white folks as we can be with no money. You know, it's hard to be, like DMX said, when the funds are low, the guns are what? Blow. And that's what's happening. We've been in an economic, well, wait, hey. Economic desert here. But, I'm sorry, I'm wrong. But, so what's profound about this moment and in this hour that we have some tools. See, if we're going to organize from the block to the boardroom, we need a blueprint.
Yes.
We need to understand how we start businesses, how we get those businesses funded, not just start them.
Yes.
We've been starting a lot of businesses, but they're always on a shoestring budget. I started my business on a shoestring budget. I often joke and say, had I taken a business class or understood accounting at the time, I probably would have never got started because all the signs would have told me you're not ready, right? But today, I'm very excited because Dr. Shantae, the individual that I'm going to bring to the stage next, has created a body of work that was really built out of pain. This book should be called Learn From My Pain, right? But she has not only talked about what it takes to start your business, but how to do it smart. And what do I mean when I say smart? If you ever study goal making, et cetera, it says that all goals need to be SMART, specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and time-based. So if you start your business on a shoestring budget, but you're not being intentional about getting funded, because at the end of the day, you can start on a shoestring budget, but it's damn hard to grow on one. So you have to think about when you set your LLC up, and I've been doing this for years. You know, the Buck Business Center, in fact, was born out of this idea that we will be able to take the block, but we have to take the block with viable businesses. And so without further ado, I want to introduce this book, where she's going to do the girth of that, and introduce our next speaker, Dr. Shantae, and her new book, Start Smart, Your Business Blueprint. Let's give her a round of applause.
Thank you, Roland. Thank you, Mark. Thank you, Brian.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Now I gotta remember to stay within my own square that I gave everybody else. Good afternoon, everybody. Hello. Again, I'm Dr. Shantae, and yes, I did just launch my second book, Start Smart, Your Business Blueprint. I've been working on it for about a year or more, and it's been sitting on that computer, on that hard drive, that amount of time. And I said, okay, it's time to get it launched, get it out there, so that if you left here today or tomorrow, no one would know what you've been working on. And so what I wanted to do was get it launched so that we can help people. I have been an entrepreneur, oh my God, since 2011. Bright-eyed, bushy-tailed, like most of us that just want to be your own boss, right? It just, when you've been an employee, you know what I mean. So I can remember having to be confined to working 8 to 4, 2 to 10, 3 to 11, the midnight shift, the graveyard shift. And all I kept thinking, I saw my nieces, they just grew up before my very eyes. And I always said that when I had children, I wanted to be able to be there and not be at work all the time trying to make and provide for them. So those are one of my personal goals and reasons why I wanted to go into business and become an entrepreneur back then. But like many, I didn't really know what that means. I got incorporated, did the little paperwork. Okay, that part was easy. Forgot about the paperwork. Corporation got dissolved by the state. Didn't know what I was really doing there. And then I remember wanting to get into a new area of business. My background, of course, is in medicine. I'm a doctor of pharmacy, and I'm also a doctor of naturopathic medicine. Healthcare was always my realm. I'm still there, but more in an educational capacity, because my current position is president and CEO of NCNM University, formerly known as the National College of Naturopathic Medicine. I've been in that position for the last 6 years. I've also served on the board of I served on the board of the American Naturopathic Association as its president. I've been there the last 8 or 9 years in that position. So Start Smart is a compilation of all of my experiences. I worked in corporate Walgreens for over 17 years. I've taught at Chicago State University at the College of Pharmacy there. So I've taken all of these experiences and pretty much poured it into this book as far as how to do business. Even the boring parts. And this is the part that challenged me the absolute most. The bookkeeping, the accounting, the money part, following the money, keeping all of those systems and straight and in line. Because when I came into position at the college, it was ran more like a mom pop type of corporation, hand them out. And to be able to help it grow, we had to do something different. But 8 months into my administration, the world was hit with COVID, right? World shut down. So we all experienced that. We remember that. We're still traumatized by that. A lot of businesses went extinct during that time, never to return. So I had to keep going and endure and try to keep the business going, even through that. Imagine that. So all of the tips that I have that helped us survive, that has also been poured into the book. So this book is not only a book, but it's also a course. I'll have that ready and live to go and made for people who want a little bit more hands-on. And for those who wants to do the DIY, of course, we have the book itself. And the workbook companion with that too, for those of you who are really ambitious and just want to just hit the ground running. But of course, the digital course is for people who want a little bit more hands-on, and walk you through the modules. It'll probably take you, if you dedicated 1 day to each of those modules, it would still take you 2 weeks to complete the online content. And that is why I agree with Roland with being intentional, starting from day one, knowing where you want to go and getting your business adequately funded so that you can keep going. You know, we ran out of funds and I didn't have enough money to pay payroll. So you know what happened there? I lost employees. I've had to build my team 3 times. And so it's not for the weak. And so also in the book, I talk about mindset. I talk about preparing yourselves mentally. You know, it sounds great to be the boss, but it's very lonely at times. You know, you used to be invited into rooms that you talked about now because you have to make difficult decisions, unpopular ones. People aren't going to always agree with you when you're going into business. And then you got to think about it long term, how to fund it so that you can get through that 3 to 5 year business plan that we all get. And it looks about what? This thick on a sheet of paper, you know, on a desk. Your business plan is like this thick, but then it collects dust on the shelf because they're not applying it. So I also talk about how that's a living document, right? That's something that's organic. It should be moving and growing with you. So there's 11 chapters in the book. We talk about from forming, should you get incorporated, should you not get incorporated. We talk about all of the documents that you need, from bylaws to constitution, operating agreements for LLCs, all of the boring stuff. I know, it's not sexy, it's not. But it's necessary, and that is how people take you seriously. That's how, when it's time to go to an investor, a lender, having these things are so important. Having an online footprint. In this day and age, in 2025, people should be able to go to your website and find you. They should be able to Google you, and you should pop up. You should have social handles. You should be on social media. How you accept money, being flexible. There's a whole chapter on money matters. I call it money matters, how to take it. I have a colleague that only takes checks and cash, will not do merchant services. Could you imagine how limiting that is? When we're in this stage where we're just tapping, now even with our phones, you don't even have to take your wallet out. And sometimes I have to remember to bring the wallet so I can prove I have a driver's license because I just have my phone and I'm just tapping everywhere we go, right? So even as a business owner, keeping up with the technology, how to think about your business plan and your expenses with the introduction of AI, taking away a lot of jobs. Now, from a business owner standpoint, that works for us. We can use that to our advantage, certainly. But now we need to recruit the skill that's going to help us maintain that part. So we go through a lot of things in Start Smart, and my affiliation, of course, with the New Life Movement Ministries, about Business Center, about Biz Centers, about Project 5000, Roland Davis and Flip That Hood University, and then Flip That Hood, the course. My work there in Start Smart is to help you all, or help the people that are part of this movement, rebuilding the communities, get yourself set up so that you can get funded for real estate. Ready to go into real estate, ready to get some deals and flip some homes and get rental incomes, and we got to start here. We got to stop here first, because you're not going to be able to get those things with all the specialists we have, the credit specialists, the business credit specialists, all these people we have that can help you get money. If you don't start here, you have a long way to go. Some people can get funded as soon as 3 months. Others are going to take about a year. Why? Because they still got to work on personal credit. Everyone wants to jump straight to the business credit, and they forget about themselves. We talk about that in my credit to capital chapter. We talk about that. So there's a lot of information in this book. It's probably about 250 pages, but it's easy to get through. So that's really all I have to give everybody a preview. I'll be here for the power breakfasts, and then we'll evolve with this. And hopefully people will have more of experience and more engagement with all of the services, all of the courses that we'll be having, because they're all tied in together. The Money Matters chapters, and then I think there is the annual checkup. I call it the annual checkup. It was Dr. up there. But anyway, that is where you come in, Brian, for, your services, because it's heavily talking about getting everything prepared for tax season and things like that. So, I definitely want to talk to you,
Okay.
for sure. But moving on. And that's why we have all these people here. Everybody's here because there's something that someone else has or that they do that's going to help you with your business. And you want to have those type of relationships. It's actually smart to have them with that. So I am done with my part.
I have a question.
Yes.
Have we purchased? How do you feel about purchasing?
Oh, very, very easy. You can purchase it at Amazon, Start Smart. I'm there. And then but I am on Amazon. We have it as an ebook, paperback, and the hardcover that I have as well. But I'll definitely be bringing them to the events. I just want to show up and show everybody that it is here. And then I'll probably have more on-hand copies in our next event that comes with a copy record. So yes, we can find them online. My company, Bluestone Capital Group, that is the official distributor at this time, even though Amazon is also a distributor. So you'll be able to find all of that, all my information online. Are there any other questions? All right, Roman.
All right.
That's pretty
Come on, y'all got better than that. And also, a little bit, I forgot to say, before I introduce Ro Davis, we all are artists. Everybody, please, please. A lot of times, we have a lot of jokes and fun, but we don't support, right? And I'm talking about financial support. So Ro has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 books. These better get purchased today, right? We support and we have opportunities to support everyone but ourselves. So everything that he's talking about is in this book, right? So, and how much are these today? I signed autograph?
Signed at $40.
$40. Okay. Now we have, how many do we have? You saw these? Autograph copy?
What?
Next event. Okay, these are beautiful. These are beautiful.
Yeah.
These are beautiful. Now, I would not be remiss to mention my own book, right? $1 worth of tax, $40. They got picked up in 26 countries. So this is 12 chapters on how to start your own tax franchise. So they're only $40 to get. So go right ahead. Waiting on you. So guys, we are here. Cheat Code, Ro Davis. Everyone knows Ro, right? Yeah. Who doesn't know Ro? Right? I'll tell you a little funny story before I introduce Ro. He was on Facebook one time, and I don't know if y'all know this. He was having some issues with lawn care, right? I don't know if y'all remember this quote because he's always on Facebook. And for some reason, he thought that he could mow the lawn. So he went to the Home Depot, right? He went and bought some orange wires, some power plugs, right? I think he even bought a lawnmower. I think he bought a ride on, right? He was at one of his properties and he was walking around. He was in a good mood. But then he found out that it was work, right? Because it looked good on paper. We said, I'm about to mow my lawn, right? Baby, I'm about to go out and mow the backyard. But when you realize how long that shit is. So 5 minutes later, Ro has a whole epithet. He's like, you know what? I can't do this. I am a mad real estate guy. Please come and help me. So this is the thing. Some of us in business, we like to do things that we're not experts at, right? So if you're not expert at accounting, why are you doing your own taxes? If you're not an expert at accounting and bookkeeping, why are you even trying to Google QuickBooks? Right? If you never bought or purchased a home, why are you trying to be your own realtor? Right? So when I tell you this man started his business with $1,000, grew it to over $1 million. That's a fact. Right? Clap it up for that. He started with $1,000, grew it to $1 million. Multifaceted in business, meaning you could put Ro in the room and you would think he was a politician. You would think he was running for a senator or president. He has that, yes, sir, you need to. He got that. You know how you walk into a room, you're like, he got it, right? But you don't know if he's a car salesman or he worked for the bank, right? And the great part about Ro, he works for himself. So he actually is a great mentor for individuals that want to be your own boss, right? Now, if you don't want to be your own boss, Ro has a job for you. And they're right. So I want you guys to really make sure y'all make some noise for Ro. I have to step away because I have a client. I'm an accountant, so I got a client at the door. So when I walk away, I'm not leaving I want y'all to know what I'm doing, right? So again, let's give it up for Mr. Roday.
Lock the door. Lock the door. How's everybody doing? I asked that out, right? So I just want to, first of all, give it back to Dr. Shante. I believe that that body of work is amazing. I've had an opportunity to read the book myself, and I have lived that experience with her. And I'll tell you, there's a lot of value inside that book, and it's exactly what we need if we're serious about being in business. So let's give her a round of applause. Now, I definitely want to give it back to Brian. I think everything that he said was well put. I'm very impressed with the work that Brian is doing. I believe he has over 900 tax franchises across this country. And so would you agree that that's somebody we might want to learn from?
Yes.
Right, absolutely. So I just want to thank Brian and all of those people. And I definitely want to thank you for coming out. So let's give you a round of applause. Give me thank you. All right. So on Facebook, we have been talking about $100 million worth of project volume. And I'm going to explain what that looks like today, because when I get done, I'm going to offer everybody in the room to step forward, not necessarily literally, but step forward and decide what part of that 100 million, and that 100 million is really just a small seed to the $5 billion economic engine that I have been working on over the last 20 plus years. So we didn't just get here and decide we were looking for a project like this. This is really my life's work. And what is that? Creating an economic engine using home ownership and small business development. Because as I alluded to earlier, I think that we're as civil with the rest of the world as we can be without funding. It's time for us to get out of this idea that somebody else is going to create a job for us. And we have to create jobs for ourselves. One of the reasons why I started this work on 79th Street, even before the Business Center that you guys may be familiar with. Yes, there it is on 79th. And exchange, there it is.
Yes, sir.
So, yes.
20 years ago.
Yes,
Yes.
that just kept connected.
Yes, sir.
So this is a vision that is been evolving, and somehow I keep ending up on 79th Street. And some people say, when we started the Business Center over the last 6 or 7 years, they said, why would you put a business incubator on 79th Street, especially when you consider that Cottage Grove, 79th and Cottage Grove is called Murderers Row. And that's where I'm saying to you, the people who are listening here today and on Facebook Live and wherever you may be tuning into, that's exactly where we need a business center.
That's right.
On Murderers Row, because that's why we're murdering. Because of not necessarily the lack of economic opportunities, but we really don't know what it takes in many cases to be an entrepreneur and to be a successful one. Because most of us, since civil rights, were concerned about finding a job. And so our parents, we are first generation, and if we lucky, second generation entrepreneur. So my father didn't teach me how to start a business, neither did my mother. So I had to learn that organically. I think in the network market opportunity, and let's give my brother Groove, he's got a lot of things going. I want him at the end of this, say a little bit about what he's got going. But let's give him a round of applause. This is one of my mentors. Yeah, so, as we used to say back in the 5 links days, and Mike can remember this, sometimes you have to fail your way to the top. But the hour is so late and the moment is so critical that we've got to accelerate this process. So why am I saying that the hour is late? So I want to put in context why we must take the block now. We don't have an unlimited amount of time to do what we've always done. We can't, I mean, we gonna fail some ways, but how many people know that the cure to our failure is unity? See, you may be just getting started or haven't even taken the first step towards business ownership or taking the first step towards getting in the real estate game. But when you have a mentor and you're willing to be coachable, then you can accelerate and avoid many of the failures that the people who are representing these bodies of work have already done. So put this in perspective, and then we're gonna talk about that 100 million. So we are living in the age of I think it's the fourth industrial revolution, right? So artificial intelligence and the robotic age is changing the way we do business. How many people use artificial intelligence right now? It's very convenient. You know, sometimes I think to myself that part of the reason why Trump and Elon Musk and all of those individuals are so anti-immigration is because they're trying to create a way for the robotic age. There's a discussion the robots are going to be released into our reality, I think by the end of this year, on a mass market level. Elon Musk has figured out how to sell an affordable robot for $20,000 or $30,000.
Yep.
You're gonna see people literally on 79th Street walking around with a robot carrying stuff. Might be out there selling shit too. That's another story, right?
Yeah.
You know, they gonna put it on the robot. However, so what we know is that it's going to change the way business is done. It's already changing the way. You need less employees to do a better job,
Yep.
right? You need less employees to do a better job because no matter how good we are, it's very difficult to outthink a computer and the systems that a computer can provide. So the robotic age and artificial intelligence threatens, not threatens, but it's going to be a reality to drain the workforce. In fact, according to Elon Musk, who's at the pulse of all of that, he's saying that artificial intelligence and the robotic age will replace 80% of the workforce. That means a bunch of people are going to get fired, laid off, and shit's about to change. And so when you consider the fact that Black wealth lives, the majority of it, in the equity in our homes, then you can understand that if 80% of working people are going to get laid off and our equity lives in our homes, most of us still have a mortgage. So you got 30 years in order to be able to maintain that. And you already see that the cost of everything is going up. It's getting sky high. People are complaining about rental rates. It's getting high as hell because the cost of everything, all the aid is beginning to disappear under the Trump administration, right? So Elon Musk is saying that we're going to have to move to a universal basic income. You know what that is? That's welfare. Universal basic income. Things are going to get cheaper in some ways, but for people to survive, it's going to be a universal basic income. Now, let's think about how hard it is to buy a house on welfare now. Just imagine what it's going to be in the very near future. How near? Well, we have the hedge funds, BlackRock, and all of these big people who are now targeting our communities, underserved communities. And their goal and the prediction is that within the next 5, not 10, 5 years, BlackRock and those companies are going to own 60% of our community. Now, we already got outside people coming in who are gentrifying our community. We already lost Bronzeville.
Yes.
We have lost Woodlawn. South Shore is under attack, and so is Inglewood. All of the areas that we could have bought something for cheap is starting to go through the roof. And so how can BlackRock make a prediction and say that 60% of the homes are going to be owned by hedge funds? Well, first of all, what they're doing is they have predicted based on the Industrial Revolution that people going to lose jobs. They're going to lose, the houses will be next, right? And people are going to have to rent. So you talk about no ownership. I'm going to say that again. No or very little ownership, because they know that it's going to be a transfer of wealth. People are going to lose jobs. Black wealth is on its way to decimation. And if people going to have to do like we see the Hispanics doing, living together. And you know some of us can't get along. So just imagine all the people you don't like and talking about now, all in the same house, under the same roof. So what I'm saying now is that this idea of creating generational wealth is going to disappear. We're moving into a space where we're moving back to feudal times. Do you remember the feudal times? You may have read about it in your history books. There was no middle class. There was only lords and serfs. If you were a serf, you didn't own shit. You worked the land, the cost of everything was extremely high. So most of your living went just to maintain yourself. So basically what that was generational poverty. So generational poverty. So what that means is that the majority of people, if you weren't born into wealth, you lived in generational poverty. That means your children was poor. They didn't own shit. Their children weren't going to own shit. And there was no foreseeable way for anybody who wasn't already wealthy and didn't own land to ever get it. Because God don't make no more land.
That's right.
So that meant the people who had it held on to it. So then that's where the term landlord came from, right? So the lords who owned everything was the upper class and the serfs were the lower class. What was powerful about America and the dream in America was that there was ownership. The dream of ownership where you could own your home, start a business, and you could work yourself from the bottom up to the top because you had that middle layer where you could get your foundation properly, and then you could eventually climb to the top. I remember when I went to college, they were always saying that we're gonna move to a place where there's only rich and poor. There will be no more middle class. And I couldn't understand it.
We hear now.
We hear now.
Right.
The middle class is going to disappear. It is disappearing because all of the set-asides, the grants, and most of the things that have allowed us to just barely make it or to survive or to get a leg up are being disappeared and dismantled. So that means the choice not to buy will condemn your family and your children's children to generational poverty.
That's right.
Because the cost of everything is going to get sky high and your ability to own is going to disappear. So where we now can go into a Harvey or Inglewood, let me give you a practical example. I bought a building in Inglewood, I want to say 3 years ago. I bought that building for $200,000. Well, less than that, and I put some work into it. So my mortgage was $200,000 in terms of what I owe. Today, 3 years, it'll be 3 years in July. That building is now worth $420,000, fully fixed up. Now, so that means that the value is going through the roof. So when Mark talks about these immigrants, let me tell you what's going on. So the immigrants, see, they come from a different space. We've been spoiled. So idea of being independent and not living with people. So I own a property on 55th and Bishop. It was a vacant lot next door, right? So I went over there because I'm about to start rehabbing the property.
All right.
And I saw that somebody put a trailer, they put a beautiful fence around it, but they had a trailer, like an RV, an old mobile home. And I couldn't understand what's going on. And then one of my developer buddies hit me to it. He said, what they're doing is 4 of them gonna live in that place, work day labor. Each one of them gonna make about $100 a day. They live in super cheap. They had power lines and everything to that little trailer. And he said between them, they're gonna make enough over the course of a year, and then they're gonna buy that house over there. And then they're gonna build that up and they're gonna grow. So while we're moving in independence with no blueprint, not starting smart, nor do we know how to fix, flip, and own,
That's right.
other people have a plan, a blueprint, and they work in that. And that's why the immigrants is even, look, we're in an hour where we cannot afford to be disunified.
That's right.
It doesn't matter what the fuck the problems are.
That's right. That's right.
Excuse my language. It doesn't.
Right.
Because in a minute while we argued, they running out the front door or back door with the money. And so we are concerned about the violence and being safe and running scared. But let me tell you, the people who take it over Inglewood is Hispanics. And this is not an attack against them, but that neighborhood is changing. The very same area that we have been running from and worried about our children, they're running too.
Yes.
And taking care of their areas, et cetera, et cetera. And now the value is shooting through the roof. And most of the stuff that they're doing, they're paying cash for.
Yep.
So I'm saying to you, like, you got to see what's going on. And part of the problem is that we don't have a cheat code. We don't understand that. We don't have a blueprint.
That's right.
Because when I tell you, and this is not something, I did it on Facebook Live. It's not that I started my business with $1,000. I show how I took $1,000 and I built $1 million, which is now a $5 million portfolio
That's right.
in less than 3 years. Now you say, well, how'd you do that? What you do with the 1,000? I took that 1,000 and fixed my damn credit.
Yeah.
That's it.
Say that.
I never repaired my credit back when the market crashed in 2007.
Yeah.
And I never needed credit because people knew I knew what I was doing. So I could always find private money. But what I did was I fixed my credit. I did nothing magical. I fixed my fucking credit. And then I took what I teach in here, which is really 20 plus years of real estate experience, buying and selling, using creative financing, navigating around the fact that I didn't have credit and going with the ups and downs of life and having to get creative. And so I never needed it until I realized what I was missing because I didn't have it. So what I'm saying, when you look at this body of work and you look at what Shantae has created in this is not books that this is the outcome. I always say breakdowns create breakthroughs. These books are the breakthrough of all of that pain. 20 plus years of trying to figure this shit out. And I'm gonna tell you the most powerful thing that you can do. And I'm saying this, if you're an entrepreneur, I don't care what kind of business you're trying to start. We're getting creative with marketing strategies, all kind of creative stuff. The most powerful thing you can do is get a 700 plus credit score. Because you're gonna get an opportunity to grow your business. Even a broke clock is right twice a day. So we have to be intentional because when you start your business, even if it's on a shoestring budget, eventually you're going to get to a place where you need capital to grow. Let's just say you have a cleaning business. In order for you to get the contracts for the money that matters. See, I'm talking about money that can keep your children's children tight and working. So I mean, you can get them little penny ante jobs, you know, where people don't even have Zelle and all that kind of shit. They'll give you a chance. But when you go to places like Walmart or somewhere where you're trying to get a big contract, they don't pay hand to mouth.
That's right.
So if you thirsty and you need your money today, oftentimes you're gonna have to wait 90 days before you can even get the money. They don't do their accounting like that. I did the job today, I need my check at the end of the day. It don't work like that. So you'll never be able to grow. If you go and you're a contractor and you don't have the proper licensing, then you have to deal with people who ain't worried about your license.
That's right. That's right.
But the people that's gonna give you money that matters is concerned about their vision. They'll give you a shot to be a part of it, but they ain't gonna let you fuck that shit up.
That's it.
So you need insurance, the proper licenses and stuff. So what happens is you end up building a world when you're unlicensed, undercapitalized, underfunded, with no plan. You end up unconsciously playing small. Now I'm gonna say this to the brothers that's avoiding child support. See, so-and-so ain't getting shit. You know, and you stop working, you hiding the money from the courts, and you doing all that. Okay, the BS didn't get shit. But look at what's happening to your life.
That's right. That's
Because now you got to play small.
That's right.
Because you had money. Oh, a person want to give you a job. Oh, don't send that to this. You got to do this, and you got to do this, because you avoiding that little funky ass money.
Keep it real.
You worried about the wrong shit. Why not just go buy a building and let the building pay the child support, and the child end up with something when they get older?
That's right.
And your universe can't be blessed if you ain't doing that. You thinking small. That's what I call nigger thinking. That kind of thinking will never give you the power to grow. See, we need the licenses, we need the order, the structure, because the money, you may not be concerned about it. And the people in your world, your circumference, at your vibration, and that's the unconscious part. Because you don't realize that you done built a world around playing small. So now your earning years and everything you doing is to keep that unconscious bias, because you worried about losing your social security money.
Right.
I can think of all the times in 5 links, we talking about $1 million, multi-million-dollar opportunity, but these people coming with a $30,000 mindset. They don't want nothing in their name doing this because they got social security. And if I make too much, then I'm gonna lose them benefits. But you done lost the benefit of everything else.
Right.
So I'm saying to us that we have to be intentional and we got to stop playing small. We got to play big. That's why the first move, I've been working on this movement for years, but today the movement is born because we have secured $100 million worth of project volume. Now you say, what does that mean? Well, here's what I want you to get. Every one of these houses and buildings, even the ones we just rehabbing to do what we doing, is an economic opportunity. Donald Trump is not the answer to black unemployment.
Say it.
Black business is.
Say it. Say
You
it.
can clap.
Say it.
Black business, you want our babies to stop dying? Then bring your vision board to life.
Come on here.
Because I don't know too many black people, and this is the difference
Come on here.
when we own and control our community.
Come on.
I don't know too many black people that come from a condition like this, where we see the pain and the suffering of our community, and we don't have some altruistic idea in the back of our mind what we're going to do with the excess capital.
That's right.
We also, in other words, the majority of black people that I know that's really from our community, from the hood, we want to do good and we want to do well. We want to make a lot of money, but we still want to help a lot of people in the process.
Yes.
The people that only come here to benefit, they just think about doing good or doing well. They don't care about the good. Hell, if we can't fix us, surely ain't no need of them getting in it. They ain't about to worry about. They got their own people. And charity begins at home. So what's happening, they taking the money from us and taking care of their home. And there's nothing wrong with that. Only to the extent that we too ignorant to stop that.
That's right.
That's what's wrong with that. We letting them do it.
That's right.
No need to get mad at them. We got to get organized. So this $100 million of project volume, we got the first 17 million is first 17 million are houses that we're building. When we direct and the other, it's about a total, I want to say, of almost 200 lots that we have under contract. We're going to talk about those details at the next thing because we're finalizing a few things. But inside of that, our goal is to create houses where we can put our own workforce development initiative in the midst of it. And so it's a full circle economy. We asking people to come out the woodwork. If your credit is bad, let's just fix it. You ain't got to pay off all that stuff. You don't have to. What we got a whole team, and you see they done moved up. Right, they ready to go. So we got a team of people that's anxious to help, to say the least, right? That's anxious. What we need is your participation. If you're a contractor, developer, look, with that 100 million, some people gonna be millionaires because they got a contract from us.
Amen.
Some brothers gonna get some jobs they never thought was coming. And that's gonna be the line in the sand. Now I'm gonna close it with this. People say, well, you ain't gonna never get all them black people to work together. They ain't gonna never, they ain't no unit. And I got a solution for that. Fuck them. Let's leave it. That's the solution. Let's take the ones who will work and let's go.
Yes.
So, because I'm scared they're gonna take a cane and yank my neck off. I wanted to introduce my team and the people who are going to assist. I think y'all got the message. We got the blueprint and we got the cheat code. I can show you how I took $1,000 and built $1 million portfolio. And really all you need is the credit. If you got the credit, I can get you the money and then we're gonna put everything else in motion. Right? So the last thing I would say is this. If white people can look at a desert, do y'all realize they looked at a desert? A literal desert and saw Las Vegas. You cannot tell me we can't look at Sunday night between all these ghettos of America and see the kingdom of God.
Amen.
So with that, thank you. That's it. I wanted to get to
We want to bring out our little host. It's the Love. Come on now. Please tell people about the restaurant and other things that you have as we're closing up this week. Thank you so much we're going to be here every month. We're going to try
every third Sunday.
every third Sunday of the month, opposite holidays, so no one has to change any type of Father's Day plans or anything like that, or Mother's Day plans for that matter. So we'll be here every third Sunday of the month, here from 9 to 11:30. This is the Sunday Power Breakfast at Josephine's, and I want you to just tell people about,
Well, thank you to my sister, Dr. Shantae, Rose, Mark, and the crew. And we've been here 44 years on these blocks. We've been here 44 years on this block. When COVID hit, we fed over 40,000 people for free. And I'd like to give it up, not just to me and my mom and my staff, but Brother Kanye West made an investment to us, and we were able to reach those kind of numbers. So I don't know what y'all think about Ye, but Ye came back and brought that bread to the neighborhood, and we were able to feed people when the world was locked down. So we're no strangers to giving. When me and Ro, I call me and him, we have a special condition, and we think big and crazy. And as a man thinketh in his heart, so he can get these homes and get the credit repaired and clean these blocks up and take our families back and build together.
Amen.
But we gotta stop thinking everybody else's water is colder. I ain't scared. Are you scared of 79?
I'm done.
So quit being afraid of your own people. If you speak to them, they might not rob you.
That's
Hey, brother, I see you. How's your day going?
That's right.
If you go to clutching your purse and running and all that, then they say, yeah, okay, let me go and get them.
That's right.
If this is holy ground, I'm just saying we gotta stop it.
That's right.
We running all of the bread down there and we wonder why our communities look like this. Yeah. Stop it. And then we let anybody come in and open up shop that ain't gonna give a dime back to a little league team, ain't gonna do nothing to help when there's a crisis. They not doing nothing. They just taking the bag, running the way they live.
That's right.
So I'm just saying, I'm grateful for this. And I know, I have a saying, and Ro, you cannot take this because I know me and you would love. This is a Victor Love quote. United we profit, divided we beg.
That's right. Here you go.
If we just get united, we all gonna win.
Come on here.
But stay disconnected. And even if you got it, brother, your family is in poverty. So what you look like showing at the family reunion, you fuddling up, flexing, and everybody else eating off link. Come on, man. Everybody's supposed to eat.
Yes, no gatekeeping. There we go.
Let's go, y'all. I appreciate y'all. I love y'all.
So we just wanted everybody that's viewing that wasn't here, there are more members to our team that hasn't been here. They are here with us in spirit, and they're also watching virtually with us. So there's more members to the team, but I know that Mr. Carter.
Yeah. So just quickly, 30 seconds, being the co-pilot of the movement, I have to say, just ask two questions to you all. By show of hands, who knows about receivership or is a receiver in the room? 3 hands out of the entire room. Every 30 days, the city sends me about 100 or so, 120 pages of properties that they're targeting to take from our parents.
Yeah.
Let me say this again to y'all. Every 30 days, the city sends me about 100, 120, sometimes 150 pages of property that they're targeting our parents and our grandparents to take their homes. It will blow your mind to see what's happening down in the building courts. Anybody been down on the 11th floor of the
Superior.
building court lately?
Superior.
No, I'm
City
saying,
Hall, yeah.
downtown.
Yeah, I've been there.
Downtown, the 11th floor. If you haven't visited the 11th floor of the Daily Center, go down there. It'll blow your mind to see what's happening down there. Then two, by show of hands, who knows about the Office of New Americans? Everybody in this room, write this down right now. There's no way that we shouldn't know. And I'm not beating up on anybody in this room, but please do your homework on the Office of New Americans. The name in itself says it all. Office of New Americans. And then they have attached to it the Chicago New Americans Plan. So write those two things down, the Office of New Americans and the Chicago New Americans Plan. This is the direct plan that started here in Chicago back in 2011, that then spread it across the country under Barack Obama in 50 cities, where they committed to give all jobs, contracts, housing, home ownership, investment opportunities, education resources over to these new group of people that are coming in. They eliminated the need for degrees. All of this was eliminated to accommodate these groups of people. I can give you a lot of information on this, but I'm not going to take the time today. But do your homework on, again, the Office of New Americans and the Chicago New Americans Plan. And they've since expanded this into 200 cities. 200 cities, the accommodation of these communities, these people coming over here. We're saying that whatever you land out in terms of this plan, we demanding that the same come to us. And last but not least, the access to this fund that we have negotiated with the United Center. Out of that $12 billion, $7 to $12 billion, we put our community benefit agreement together. And in that community benefit agreement, we got them to agree to put $100 million up. So we start a bank or whatever, credit union, bank, or trust. We trying to figure out which one we're going to use.
Are you familiar, or is it true, first of all, that I was reading something the other day about the Jewish community
Yes.
now being indoctrinated or being given the MBE, DBE certification?
So it's like a DEI program
Exactly,
where they
that
can.
they said
Yes.
it's dismantling, but now the Jewish community, they're arguing that they're only 2% of the population or contracts rather.
Mhm.
So now they've entered the MBE space where now the quote unquote minorities, which I've never called ourselves a minority, but the minorities, those certifications that were set aside for people,
Yeah.
the Jewish community is now getting into that because they're saying they behind the 8 ball too.
And so what she's speaking on is where they had already been participating.
Okay,
Because any and everybody but straight white men
exactly,
are minorities in this country.
exactly.
Any and everybody but straight white men
Mhm.
are considered minorities.
Yes.
And so any resources and programs that come down, they can access it no different than we can, right? And so there's a lot of this going on. When you look at the Civil Rights Act, the HUD Act, I can go on and on about a lot of that, but we can do it on the ground. I mean,
Yeah. I wanted to mention, I forgot about that.
Okay, in a second, I want to say one thing. I want you just to stand up, introduce yourself, like literally, just tell us what you do and what, like I'm a contractor, I do HVAC or whatever. Oh, let me say goodbye to all my friends. No. I'm sorry. She wants to say goodbye to people. So thank you for joining in. At this point, we're going to transition and, for the people who are here. You can contact us on the inbox or on the thread, and we'll get back to you. Thank you. All right, so we, as a part of what we're doing, what's so powerful with respect to the movement is that we already have a credit union. We already got our own banking instrument. It's just underfunded. So we have Southside Federal Credit Union. Who knows what that, okay. Credit unions are better than banks, especially for community development. The reason why we can put all our money in Chase and still have to beg for loans is because the board of directors is who decides policy for the stockholders and the people who are more concerned with profit than people get to make the rules. But with a credit union, the members are all owners. So even if you got $50 in the bank, credit union, you're a member with a vote. And so we get to set policy. So yesterday I was on a call with the shareholders or members for the Southside Community Federal Credit Union, which as we grow this, you will start seeing them. They'll be at the next event. But we're about to do a $5 billion capital raise campaign. And we're going to be asking you to transfer some of your money into our own credit unions. Black owned. Brother Craig been around for 20 plus years, not one scandal, not one hiccup. So we already have an instrument, but we got to be willing to build it from the ground up. And whether you know it or not, where you save is who you save. So we've got to start thinking. So we got the credit union, and now I got elected as advisor to the president of the credit union, and I now have the authority to build an advisory board. Dr. Shantae, who's also on the board, just got elected to be the treasurer. So Mark Carter is going to be on the advisory board, and I'll be building a team of community advisors. So we have our own credit union. So the credit union for houses that we build will be given the loans. Already you can go to the credit union, get a car loan. They got a $10,000 bill consolidation loan. So there's some things that we already have going that will be extremely beneficial with what we're doing. So I think that there was one more point. Oh, no, it ain't no more point. I wanted to go around the room, have you introduce yourself, tell us what you think you would like to do here. And, you know, you had a purpose for coming today. And, you know, we like to, but keep it super short because a lot of people in the room and they got to make way for lunch.
Well, hello, everybody. My name is Daniel Craig. I go by D. The name of my company is Measure Twice Construction. I am a GC here in Chicago. Also, I am one of the head instructors at a trade school in the South Loop.